Hey, good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Pain Clinic. Yes, for another beautiful Saturday morning. It's Saturday, July 12th. Thank you so much for being here. A couple holidays, real quick, to get out of the way. It's Different Colored Eyes Day. Interesting. You don't meet a lot of people with different colored eyes, and Pecan Pie Day. So that's definitely worth celebrating. Who doesn't like pecan pie? I mean, I'm sure there's a few out there, but hey, welcome to the show. I'm your humble host, the Cash Man. I am joined by DC Dan Cole. DC, locally, kind of. You're in this area. We're going to see you later today. I'm super excited.
Area adjacent, I'd say, yeah.
Jason and Rob Sanderson. Rob, how's it going?
Good morning. Pecan pie sucks.
Uh,
Pecan pie sucks.
yeah.
But I do appreciate the local versus locale, which will always remind me of the that time at that barbecue place in Florida where one Matthew Raywalt said like, "Ooh, local root beer," and I was like, "No, it says locale. It's low calorie." But
There's
yes,
like an additional letters in there, right? uh,
there was a hyphen in there, yeah, which gave it away. And
yeah.
then when John Huber and I dropped cupcakes in our milkshakes. Good memories.
Oh my goodness. Well, welcome to the show. It's all in Saturday. We're super excited about that. Hoping Danger is going to be here, but we will see him later. If not, let me go a second. Let me go through the birthdays and crap like that before. I was just excited to see three people starting the show. It's like, whoa, woohoo.
Yeah,
Birthdays.
let me go have some technical difficulties and I'll be right
No,
back.
you're doing great. I think would you
Yeah.
start up early or something? It's I love
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy morning and stuff. So I've made sure everything was working quite early today, earlier than I wanted to even be awake. But
You know what? I noticed something. I won't, won't bring it up on the show, but we will talk sometime. Birthdays,
oh,
no, birthdays today. Former our WWE superstar and a super agent Gregory Shane Helms, Hurricane Helms, is 51 today. That's like wow, it's a mouthful. 51. Brock Lesnar's 48. Sami Zayn is 41. Sami Zayn, who apparently has been written off TV as of last week. So those are the birthdays today. Interested in roller derby? Want to be a skater? Officiate Rock City Roller Derby needs you. Contact recruitment at Rock Derby Recruitment at gmail.com and join Rock City Roller Derby, the men's team Flower City Fear. They are in transit to Albany to play a
that's
team.
unfortunate.
Yeah, they're playing a team from Casco Bay as they warm up for the playoffs in a couple weeks. So kudos to them. Drive safe. Enjoy. Hopefully you get to see some wrestling today. And I want to just go through and talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. Obviously, all in. We had Super Card of Honor last night. I'll talk about some of those results. If you were watching WWE, you saw Jelly Roll, half the man he used to be. Man, the dude is like disappeared. Still wearing, I don't know what I'd call them, like togas or whatever, but half the man. And then we had got some WWE things going on this weekend as well. But let's jump right in. I want to talk about Super Card of Honor last night. I completely forgot that was going on. They tried to remind us it was going on, and it was like, but you guys saw the picture I posted, right, with -1 coming out without a mask on last night.
Yeah,
And
he dropped that when I mean, it was kind of intermittent or whatever, but when he did the GCW appearance Mania weekend in Vegas, it was time to get rid of the mask. I mean, everybody's seen him without the mask. Not that you can't go back to it at some point like Rey Mysterio
sure,
or even Rey Mysterio Jr. But yeah.
did
Yeah, I
you?
don't think you're going to see the mask again. So, oh, or didn't see it through both of his Rick Rude appearances last night. So,
Showed up twice, huh?
because
Yeah.
he after the Ring of Honor spot, then went over to Gillies and made an appearance at GCW as well. So, two shows in one night. So,
A
a worker.
big GCW show last night too, right?
Yeah, packed show. I am still in the process. I last night was kind of when I got back home, I was flipping through about a billion different things. It was more difficult to keep up with in like a Mania week, to be honest. But what I saw of that show was huge, and the crowd was packed for that show last night. Actually, it's ironic because I remember on this show last week, you had asked about Cardona and Shotzi and how
Yeah.
maybe they would have a match at GCW, and then like right after the show, it got announced for last night's show, and so now it's already happened. I have not seen that match though. I only saw about a minute of it so far. But
They were doing like a death match or something, or
a garage beer match or something. Yeah. So I'm sure shenanigans were involved, but I'm still kind of catching up on that show and about half of Supercard probably as well. But
yeah. So
we'll get there eventually.
Supercard Honor last night was last night. Man, packed show. Man, a lot of crossover wrestling. Man, this past week has been Ring of Honor and AEW crossovers on every show, pretty much. But I don't think I'm trying to look at the results. There's at least 12 matches last night with 4 on the undercard, with the Von Erichs being on there as well in the tag team match against the Premier Athletes. Remember them? They're still here.
Remember the Von Erichs? They have belts, and
yeah,
they that was the Arlington residency a year ago when the Von Erichs and Dustin Rhodes won the ROH 6-man World Tag Team Championships, which were being revived from after they had been merged. And they're like, oh, this one's for those vacant belts. And it's like, no, like I thought we got rid of those belts. We don't need to bring them back. And so they brought them back. And I believe after that Arlington residency, like after the day after whatever the show was taped, the day after they won those belts, they defended them for an ROH taping. I think since then they've had one defense in a year of those belts. So what are we doing?
yeah. That
too many belts in wrestling.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of people that showed up on the pre-show card too. You got Blake Christian versus Jay Lethal. You got the Dark Order defeating the Frat House with Jack Jameson by pinfall. Is that when one came out? Negative one came out.
Yeah, he came out toward the end of that with because the Frat House has Preston Vance, so obviously he had that. Brody Lee Jr. had that little break apart with, and then Preston Vance, Cole Carter, and who the F is Griff Garrison as that team. So
that means the ex-partner of Brian Pillman Jr. Maybe
that's correct.
Yeah,
with with cheerleader version Julia Hart. Yeah, it was nice to see like that ROH crowd in Dallas last night. Really gave a nice reaction to Dark Order, and it was cool to see just because it's been so long. Like those guys have been there forever, and they were such a big part of the show, and they were obviously killing it on BTE for a while and stuff, and then all of that just kind of just faded away. Would love to see BTE come back, but yeah, it was nice to see them pick up a victory too.
Yeah. And we got to see was it Diamante versus Lady Frost. So we haven't seen Lady Frost in a while. We got to see both. Well, I mean, at least on AEW, Lady Frost used to be on Collision a lot. So but yeah, we got to see that. Then it starts off with single matches with Henchicero. Is that how you say it? Henchicero and Michael Oku, and that was I mean, this is like your diehard Ring of Honor. If you watch the shows religiously, there's a lot of them, but there's a lot of AEW bleed into it too. Like then we got AR Fox, Adam Priest, Atlantis Jr., and Lee Johnson for $50,000, which is quite the payoff for one match. 4-way for $50,000.
Those amounts are always legitimate. Yep.
Yeah, Lee Moriarty defeated Blue Panther after that. Sons of Texas, they're the tag champs, right? Yeah, the tag champs.
Yeah,
defeated.
$50,000 doesn't sound nearly as good as 2 million pesos.
True.
Oh, true. Yeah, it was. I had to give props this week to Bobby Cruz specifically for his ring announcement on the ROH TV show, which aired Thursday before Collision, because he had to do a ring announcement for the overall Sons of Texas, which of course Von Erich, Rhodes are the 6-man champs, and Rhodes and Guevara are the tag champs. But then there's individual like tag teams within that group and nicknames and stuff. Like it was the most complicated ring announcement I have ever seen in professional wrestling, and he nailed it. I was so impressed. So, and he responded saying like, you don't even know how many times I like rehearsed that in my head and stuff. It's like, I don't like ringing when I don't like reading when ring announcing.
Yeah.
But I can't understand how he did it without for that. It was crazy.
Well, you remember obviously in Spencerport when he went down the list of drugs that CM Punk had never taken.
Yes.
Yeah,
Him and Steve Carino.
that's right. And it was
Yeah.
quite the lengthy.
Just 22 years ago.
It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it was. So yeah, so we got the Sons of Texas defending their titles against the Infantry by winning by pinfall. Nick Wayne, birthday was yesterday, I believe. Defeated Titan by a pinfall. That was
Teton, if we want to be specific.
Yeah, I know. There's an accent over the A, so I kind of figured that. Mina Shirakawa, definitely.
Don't use that word. That word's going to come up. What did she become?
What did she become? Mina
Temporary.
Starts with int and ends with Urim. Women's World TV Champion.
Yeah, interim Ring of Honor Women's World Television Championship. It was a wild four-way, obviously. Persephone, Sakazi. I don't really know all these women.
Yuka Sakazaki.
Yeah, and Yamashita.
Miyu Yamashita.
Yeah,
that's goals. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course they got some good matches then because then we got Athena defeating Thunder Rosa, sorry, with Billy Starks.
Blue Thunder Rosa would be a
Blue
good tag
Thunder
team.
Rosa. I think that's a move, isn't it?
Blue Thunder is a move. Yep. Shout out to Jay Freddy.
There we go. And then we had Bandito beating Takeshita by pinfall for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Looked like a very long night of matches, but man, it's Ring of Honor always solid shows, and that was last night too. But it leads up to today. There's so much wrestling going on. Can you imagine if you watched every second of wrestling this weekend? I believe someone calculated it out this weekend to be like 47 hours of wrestling this past week. This full set past 7 days. So.
How much of that is the WWE shows, though, when you take out all of their breaks between matches?
Yeah.
Are they only accounting for an hour of that? Yeah.
10-minute matches. Yeah. In an hour. So, yeah, that's true. You got to.
Yeah. I have to say, I've only seen the finish of the Takeshita Bandito match, but I have seen so many comments and tweets and everything where everybody is labeling it as match of the year, and that it was just everybody had high expectations for it, and it just absolutely blew everybody away. So I am really looking forward to watching that as soon as possible because it sounded incredible. Yeah.
So that was last night to warm everybody up, for All In Texas tonight. And besides the fact that we got 4 hours of TV this past week, live TV to get people going too, which worries me always because the injury bug tends to happen when you're putting guys who are on the main event show on a match, but I think they worked that out by having like these 4-on-4s over this past week with a bunch of the matches that were on TV, but so that they possibly get rid of the chance of injuring anybody. So it looks like everybody's pretty healthy coming into All In this weekend, which is a good sign. How'd you feel the buildup was this past week, DC? Did you get to watch Dynamite and Collision? And by the way, they were both solid shows. Don't get me wrong; they definitely were.
Yeah, I think it was a great week of go home shows. I think they're really firing on all cylinders right now, going into their biggest show of the year. And again, the continuation of stuff like the long-term storylines and storytelling, especially with like the sit down with Hangman and Swerve. So they're really starting. One of their biggest weaknesses was always the stuff outside the ring. Storylines, segments, things like that. But they're bringing their A game right now.
I even think with there was a great promo by Moxley this past week, and I know I hate to say that, but he cut a great promo about how what he's been doing the past year since he has absconded with the belt, and how we haven't seen it. And I thought that was really setting up for what we're going to get. But I think also the end of Dynamite on Wednesday was like, is that like a hint to what we're going to see on the pay-per-view? Because it's just the way the interference were running in at the end and how that was like turning into just a mess of humanity and bringing back things like the plastic bags and stuff like that. Rob, what'd you think of the shows leading up?
I think they were really good. I mean, I obviously am always a hater of the go home shows. And I usually don't like the all-star 8-man or 8-woman tags that are just leading into pay-per-view matches and all that kind of stuff. But I think they did a really good job. This is, in my opinion, I can't say before watching it that it's my favorite AEW pay-per-view card ever. I do really like it a lot. But I would say I think easily this is the best pay-per-view build-up that AEW has done. Period. I think they've done a really good job of establishing these matches. Some of them have been built up for many months through twists and turns. And going into this show now, I think there's a lot of hype, and there's, like we talked about a little bit last week, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of matches that could go either way. It is, in my mind, the most unpredictable of AEW pay-per-view cards that we've had in maybe ever as well. And I think that just sets it up to be a really good show. Hopefully we have some surprises and stuff as well. But this is a pay-per-view that I think is going to absolutely knock it out of the park. And I guess we can say that because it's actually in a baseball stadium for once.
There we
But
go.
Ew.
yeah. But yeah, no, I think the go homes were really good. They gave nice build up to each of the matches. It wasn't like it was just focused on one. I liked how Collision kind of ended, focusing on the women's gauntlet and stuff. And I think if I'm Tony Khan, I'm thinking too much about how the heck do I order this card today.
Yeah.
Because there's at least 3 matches that could be the main event, the last match of the show. And I don't know how he goes about it, but I would assume one of them opens, and looking forward to it.
Yeah. That's, we were talking, I think last week when we were on, is we were, does, Tony Storm, Mercedes Moné, the buildup on that has been epic for weeks. Does, obviously that's going to sit high on the card, maybe last match. No, probably, maybe. I don't know. Could be. I mean,
it absolutely could be. I don't think it will be, but there's absolutely an argument for it to be. I think it's in my mind, it's as big of a match as any of the others. But obviously, I mean, it's there are other contenders that could easily main event any other pay-per-view as well, when you think about like the Bucks and Swerve and Osprey and stuff. But between Mercedes and Tony, Moxley and Hangman, and Okada and Omega, I mean, really any 3 of those could go on last. I think there's still an outside chance that Okada and Omega goes on last, which would really, I mean, that could really elevate the status of that title, those titles, all those belts, too many belts. But if that's truly the last time they ever are going to wrestle each other, which I don't necessarily believe, but
I'm waiting for the crowd to lose their minds when Okada kicks out of the one-winged angel.
Yeah. That gosh,
I want that to be my moment of the weekend.
Well, it's they talked. When's the last time they wrestled? They said 6 years ago, 7 years ago, was it something like that? I think that, I mean, that was a main event in New Japan Pro Wrestling so that it definitely could be. I would love to see that. Obviously they could go an hour, both those guys, they could go, that's so let's go through the card a little bit and talk about our thoughts on things. We've got, it looks like we've got 3 pre-show matches. Pre-show apparently starts at noon.
1 Eastern.
Oh, is it 1 Eastern? Okay. So
it's a 0 double hour. Yeah.
That's right. Okay. So, hopefully I've got to pick up our snacks and stuff at noon. So hopefully, I'll be able to catch, I won't miss too much of it, but we've got 3 matches on the pre-show. We got Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, Ross Von Erich, Marshall Von Erich with Kevin Von Erich versus Shane Taylor, Lee Moriarty, Carly Bravo, and Sean Dean with Anthony Ogogo in their corner. That's like getting people on the card, but also obviously they wrestled most of them wrestled last night as well. I will much prefer.
When the heck do they make that match?
That's a good question.
That's literally the first time I'm even hearing of that one. So there's so much stuff going on this week, but
no.
I mean, I'm glad I will continue to whine about, Sammy Guevara being limited to ROH or pre-show 0 hour stuff like that. A guy that they built as like a pillar initially, and this is
You
what
never
they
got
have him doing. But
Andrade to punch him, man. That was it, you know.
yeah, but I mean, especially in Texas and stuff, like I'm glad at least he's getting a match at Globe Life Field. This is not what I would choose
Yeah.
for a variety of reasons, but at least there is one. So
Yeah, I was going to say that, I much prefer that match over the next one, which is Big Boom AJ, Hologram, Kyle O'Reilly, and Ishii versus Lance Archer, and Hendercero, Beretta, and Rocky Romero in an 8-man tag. So right there, we're getting 16 wrestlers in the first 2 matches, and one of them is this Big Boom dude who I saw that they gave some time to build something up more than once this past week. But obviously Big Boom's going to be there with the Rizzler and the other kid, Big Justice, or whatever his name is.
So that's still a thing.
Yeah, that's still a thing.
apparently, I don't know. I
Okay.
mean, I still like AJ's done, I think, a really good job whenever he's made appearances,
Oh no, he's a
done
solid.
media
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I still have no interest in using TikTok, following them, hearing them talk about cookies and chicken bakes and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, they're over like crazy. I mean, the Rizzler pictures were once again all over the place this week, and
Yep.
I don't know, seeing like Big Boom AJ and Hologram like fist bumping and stuff is just okay, I guess.
What's funny is I work in a high school, and they were doing the class elections for president and stuff like that, and they had the is the Rizzler the one who does this? He does the
Yeah.
touching. They had pictures of him saying the Rizzler is voting for me. What about you? And it was like all over the school, and it's like, okay, maybe I'm missing out on this, but it's like I don't care, I don't. But they'll be involved. You'll see both those kids out there. Hopefully, none of them get hurt this time, and that. And once again, it gets a lot of people more on. WWE does the same thing when it comes to these cards, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale to get 20 more people on the show and stuff. So this is
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
I'm not crazy about like all the people that completely miss out on wrestling a match in like today, in general. But there's a spot on a pre-show for this. I mean, I'm fine with it. I honestly have less of a problem of
being on
Big
the
Boom
pre-show.
AJ wrestling
Yeah.
today than I do some of the other people that we're mentioning on this like 0 hour and stuff. So
Yeah. So, and then we've got one match where the guys should be on the card, which is FTR taking on the Outrunners. But we've got to see some good matches from those guys in the last couple of weeks, and I love the build up. So, I wish it could be on the regular show, but as I'm doing this right now, I'm replaying Dynamite and watching it, and I'm actually getting to see the Outrunners right now fighting with FTR in the ring. So, but it's just, the Outrunners are awesome, and it's like, if they didn't have so much of this Hulk Hogan era-ish stuff going on with them, they'd be even better, and that's just my opinion, but they recall the early 80s wrestling with their gimmick and stuff, but that's still going to be a great match because FTR is awesome, and even when they're bad guys, they're awesome. So DC, you like this match?
I'd like it more on the main card.
Yeah,
I
me
feel
too.
like it's both of those teams are too good at what they do to be on the pre-show.
Yeah. What do you think, Rob?
I agree with that. I mean, there's not much that I think you can bounce off of the main card in favor of it. But I mean, if you're getting a free 0 hour with FTR wrestling on it, I mean, that's basically the most prime example of like a good problem to have, a first world problem, whatever. I mean, that's it's pretty crazy that's where they fall on the card on all of this. But looking forward to it. I mean, that collision match was outstanding between those teams, and so I mean, that's putting we can talk about the 8-man tags on the 0 hour and stuff, but I mean, that tag team match being on the 0 hour is something that should get people to tune in for it, and like actually feel like they need to tune in for it before the actual pay-per-view starts at 3.
So we've got 10 wrestlers wrestling on the pre-show, and then we are going right into the show with both the men's and women's gauntlet. That's at least what I'm starting with. Are there's odds these guys are going to be wrestling in the gauntlet too eventually? I mean, we don't really know who, like the men's gauntlet. We know Mark Briscoe, MJF, Mystico, Bandito, Brody King, and Ricochet. So, but the women's we know Chris Statlander and Megan Bain, and that's it so far for that match. Both those are going to be taking place, and I think that's I mean, obviously the men's has already dictated everything we got, but the women's there's a bunch of question marks or who are coming out. I think.
I think from the 8 women tags and stuff, I mean, I think a good amount of it is pretty obvious. I just hope that they are able to pull off at least one surprise on each of those gauntlet matches. And I think there's plenty of possibilities for that. I mean, especially on the men's side of people that we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
I think we'll get at least. I wouldn't be surprised if at least 2 people we haven't seen in a long time pop up in that, maybe even 3. Just thinking of the Darby Allens, the Keith Lees, maybe the Adam
Jack
Copelands,
Perry.
maybe Jack. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities there. I'd love to see
Hoping Jay
some
White's
kind of new
healthy.
face.
Yeah, Jay White. I mean, I know Jay's
I
been
don't know
up.
if he's healthy or not, but I would love
Yeah.
to see it. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'd be fine with seeing, like, if I would love to see a ton of people enter in quick intervals in these. I mean, they're a tag team, but like I miss the Guns at this point. Like, be fine with them popping up. Like, there's so many possibilities.
Yeah, and like I said, these are gauntlet matches, and so they're going to. And folks, I know some of you probably want to know us to talk about what's going on with WWE this weekend, and we will after we get All In. I think is of all the things going on this weekend is the most important. I think to talk about.
Much like a lot
It's
of
their
what
WrestleMania.
WWE is doing, it's an afterthought today.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but they're like, well, you got Goldberg wrestling tonight, and you got, I mean, I'm kind of interested in the Evolution 2 tomorrow. So, but we'll go through those when we get to them. I promise you that.
I mean, the fact is that, like, All In, like, I mean, I think everybody would have liked to have seen better ticket sales for it, but it has really picked up in the last week or whatever. And there's more people attending that than all 3 WWE shows this weekend combined. So
yeah, they're having a hard time with this NXT show. I'm surprised that they haven't canceled it and moved it back to the training center.
Maybe they can do a real American freestyle match on that show and bring in another 3 fans or less.
Same size crowd. So we're going through the gauntlets. We've got the Ops now. I guess what they're calling Joe, Hobbs, and Shibata versus Gabe Kidd, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio Castagnoli for the AEW Trios titles. I like that Gabe Kidd. I mean, there's, he was a surprise, and now it's like, you got to expect the guy to be out there every time now, and be getting involved in things. And he is a solid wrestler and definitely a great addition. What do you think, Rob, about the Ops for the trios? I mean,
this match, I think it's I really like a bunch of people in this match. That being said, this is the match I'm looking forward to the least on the card, or maybe the entire day of AEW action. But I think the Ops have to retain because it's the same type of situation with those trios belts as I was just talking about with the ROH 6-mans, that they don't defend them. I mean, have they even defended them?
No,
Maybe
this is their
once?
first defense.
Defense, and they won them at Revolution or something. Like, it's been a long time. So
Joe was making Twisted Metal too. So when did he have time to do it?
I hate to say this. I mean, especially with some of the top talent in that match, but I actually would slide this to the pre-show and slide FTR and the Outrunners up. But all that said, I think the Ops retain. You can't drop the belts after no defenses.
No, and we actually got them out as a group this past week for the first time in a while. So
I think it's going to be a very bad day for the Death Riders, and that includes this match.
There we go. I kind of like that. I don't have a problem with that at all. Adam Cole, Kyle Fletcher, TNT Championship. Going to be, there's a few matches on this card that I think go long. This is one I definitely think could go long, and I wouldn't mind it. What do you think?
This is that's the match that I think I'm not going to say it's going to steal the show, but I think this is a match that's kind of a hidden gem on a long list of matches, and I think that this is even more. I mean, we've seen baby steps and examples of it, but this is Kyle Fletcher's day. This is his breakout day with that match for sure. And he is absolutely just killing it these days. So I fully expect him to be the new TNT champion in a few hours.
There we go. The DC.
I
Any
agree.
thoughts?
Yeah, it's very easy to look at the card and overlook the potential of this match.
But I think another big thing is it also Adam Cole is a great wrestler, and I don't know if we've had opportunities to see some of the great things he can do. And this will probably be putting someone else over. Will probably and this will probably be a great match in general for both of them, and just show you the value of someone like Adam Cole. So I'm excited to see that match, and then we've got Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks, and that's for the executive vice president title. And if that's if Swerve and Ospreay win. If Ospreay and Swerve lose, they can't challenge for the AEW World Championship for 1 year. Okay, I like the first stipulation. I could care less about the second one. I mean, I have a feeling it will not come into play, but
I disagree.
Oh, you don't think so, huh? Okay.
I also disagree.
I think that 1 year stipulation is going to achieve two things.
Okay.
Number one, it sets up Ospreay to win the title next year in London. And number two, it's going to move Swerve into the unified championship picture because they're going to want to elevate that title.
Yeah, I didn't like the stipulation of this match when it was just the EVP thing, and then I think this is perfect. Adding in this stipulation, it honestly is a really smart excuse to limit who is in the title picture for the next year. I think we've already been through over a year of people being like, all right, well, Ospreay's going to win this and he's going to be the champion. All right, he's going to win this Owen, he's going to be the champion and stuff. And this is a good way to hold that off even longer because, again, we've all known for so long that he's going to hold that belt, but there's no need to rush it. And this is a great excuse for him to do some other stuff in the next year and like Dan said, build that up and make that the big Wembley moment for August of 2026. So I believe the Bucks are going to win this match.
Okay, so if you are a fan of Ospreay, patience is what you're going to ask for. Because I'm like one of those people too that said this guy should be the champ. But I wanted it a bit quicker than a year from now. But it makes a lot of sense. It does help build out the storyline for the next year at least. So
overall in wrestling, I think there's been a better job done of holding off on things, building things up, making people wait for it, kind of swerving things and making things not happen as soon as people think. Obviously, the Cody Rhodes thing is a big example of that. And I don't agree with everything that happened with that, but they certainly built that up for a long time as opposed to rushing into the title change. And I just think, once Ospreay is going to be a star for a long time in this business, but I think that's going to be the biggest moment of his career. And it's one of those situations where he'll continue to have great matches. It won't be an issue per se, but there's not going to be a bigger moment than that. When he does win it, there's nothing bigger you can do in that company after winning that match that I think I think it's smart to hold it off even longer, even though I'm looking forward to when that happens.
So this might be an opportunity for Jack Perry to show up too. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there with his connection with the EVPs and stuff, because we haven't seen Jack Perry since November of last year, I think it was. It's been a while, so you definitely I think this definitely that I'm just saying the possibility there. So then next up we come up to Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin in a 3-way for the AEW tag titles against Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey, or Nick Wayne and Christian Cage. I think there's a lot of intrigue in that. Obviously the champs don't need to be pinned to lose. That may be part of what's going on. I'm not going to make any predictions on who's going to win, but I certainly don't have a problem with Nick Wayne and Christian Cage. They've been getting some time lately on TV to help build this up. What do you think, DC?
I don't know. I'm really not excited about a lot of the potential outcomes of this match. I'm kind of rooting for Hurt Syndicate to retain. I think maybe we see a blow up of Nick Wayne and Christian in this match.
Interesting.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's
And I
Yeah.
hate the forced tag team of Jet Speed. Like, I don't want to see a forced tag team win.
Yeah, I mean, it's something still seems off about that. I really like both those guys individually, but I'm not convinced that that's going to be like a long-term tag team or anything like that. Um, I, I mean, you could also have Christian and Nick Wayne win the belts and then lead into things falling apart during a brief title reign or something like that. But I think this is another situation where I think the the champs have to retain. That honestly, I mean, that's probably my least favorite of the three results, but I think it's what you have to do because there hasn't really been, they've had the belts for a little bit, but there haven't really been like believable title defenses where you thought that they could lose it and stuff. Like I really think that title reign has got to be built up a little bit more before it falls apart because the tag division to me is weak and it shouldn't be that hard to turn it around with the roster they have. But I don't see the titles changing hands here. I don't see it happening. I think Hurt Syndicate just has to hold it for a little bit longer to establish them more, and not make that reign seem like a joke like many other tag title reigns have felt like when Private Party had the belts for months and months and they never got to defend them or do anything really with them. So
And they may be on their way out of AEW too. So,
yeah.
Interesting that MJF being part of the Hurt Syndicate. I felt a little bit of a divisiveness between them in this past week when they told him to take care of something himself, and then went off and went to the ring after that without him. So it's like I don't know. Obviously, MJF is in the men's casino gauntlet match. I think that's one that so far that's the only time he's showing up. We know, but he may be involved.
Well, he's on the poster twice with the same exact picture, which kind of annoys me because he's not in the tag title match, but they felt the need to put him on there twice. I still don't understand where this is going to go unless they find a way for MVP and Lashley and Shelton to go full out babyface. Everybody knows that MJF's not going to be with them for very long. But how do you do that turn? Because MJF, in my mind, has to be the heel in it, or he has to stay heel. Like he can't go back to another babyface run. Not this soon. Maybe not ever. But I don't know if it's. I just don't know how you pull that off from the booking perspective. But at least, I mean, Hurt Syndicate has a good amount of fans and stuff, and I don't. Hopefully, this is a match that has a bunch of different styles in it. I mean, any match, honestly, where you get. When I look at this match, like Shelton's one of the best wrestlers of all time. Lashley's pretty versatile, all this stuff, but like getting a match with Speedball and Nick Wayne and Kevin Knight in there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that could happen here. So this could be a sleeper match on the card.
Definitely. And, obviously solid wrestler Shelton Benjamin in there, as well. It'll be fun.
Maybe the most underrated wrestler of all time. Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So next up, we have the AEW Unification Championship that's going to be happening between the match between the AEW International Champion Kenny Omega versus the AEW Continental Champion Okada. This obviously is one that will draw a lot of interest from not only here, but also Japan. I'm guessing you probably get a lot of pay-per-view buys on this one as well. Yeah, I'd give them an hour and let them do what they want. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm excited for it. I think that I'm trying to look in the past. I know that Omega has won in the past I'm trying to remember now. It's not the first time they met. Okay, we'll just say that. And this will be the first time for this going on in AEW. I'm just excited because we really haven't seen the best Okada can do, I think, since he's been here. And I think we're going to get that with Omega today. And I'm super excited. And I don't care, who wins and when it happens. I'd love to see Omega win. But what do you think, Rob?
This is one that I think is really up in the air. I could see it going either way. I think the consensus out there is that Omega wins, and I honestly lean a little bit more toward Okada. And I think that this is going to be a show where you are going to have a lot of babyface victories. I feel like this is a match that you can go with the heel, and I think that I would not be surprised if this is a match where Kenny Omega is telling Tony Khan, I need to lose this match. There are some wrestlers out there that insist on losing in certain situations, which is respectable. And I feel like an Okada win here would do a lot more for him than an Omega win would do for Omega. So
You could build up more things too, and they definitely could, extend this rivalry,
And I already feel like kind of seeds have been planted for an eventual Okada Takeshita program, which, take my money now, put the belt on Okada for that one.
Very cool. I think, this is going to be exciting. Then we got Tony Storm, Mercedes Moné for the AEW Women's Championship, TBS champion Mercedes Moné. They've given him a lot of time to build this up. Tony cut some great promos this past week. Funny, bizarre, almost very sexual at times promos. But I'm excited for this because these two women are like, obviously Mercedes Moné is money, as they say, and it's true. When it comes to big matches, Mercedes Moné is money. Though sometimes they announce her as Mercedes Money too. It's like I've heard that before on the
Money. Yeah.
Well, I've heard him. Yeah, but
back when she had that she had a terrible Mercedes Moné theme song, and then now she's got the CEO one, which is also not good. But she kept saying money in the pronunciation of her saying her own name in that first theme song. So that's the way I always say it.
Yeah. So, well, that's coming up. I'm excited for the match. I think it's a bigger, and I think we talked about this a little bit last week too, it might be a bigger deal for Mercedes to win this match over Tony, because obviously Tony Storm is a wrestler who's doesn't need a title, as we've seen in the past, and has the women's title right now. And Mercedes, obviously being the belt collector, we'll see. I mean, I think Mercedes is going to win it, but we're going to get a classic. Rob, thoughts on the match?
I think that there is a very good chance that this match ends up going in the conversation with the former version of Mercedes Moné and Bailey from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. I think that there's a chance that this could be in the conversation for best women's match, period, to date in professional wrestling. I think that they have had a long time knowing that this match is coming, to prepare for it, to think about it, all this stuff. And thinking about the match itself and the storylines and everything on the line, how big of a star each of them are. I don't know if I would have said the same thing a month ago, but I think Tony Storm's going to win. I think this is something that does more for her than Mercedes. I mean, I think I think Mercedes, as much as people want to call her Mercedes Hogan and all this stuff, I think that I'm assuming that she wants to put Tony over here, establish that. Don't know if that means it's like, obviously the TBS belt is not on the line. And so like Mercedes doesn't have to immediately start dropping all her other titles and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think this is something where Tony Storm could be that thorn in the side of Mercedes, and Mercedes can beat all these people, but she can't beat Tony, and you can build that up and let that go on for months, years, whatever, multiple matches. It could be an Okada Omega thing, whatever. Like, but I'm picking Tony Storm in this. And I think a month ago I would have easily said Mercedes, but thinking about it more, that's how I think this is going. And that'll be a nice surprise for the fans and stuff if that happens, because I think most fans are probably expecting Mercedes to keep her winning ways going today.
Well, I'm guessing we'll both, however it falls out, it's going to be a great match. DC, you say Mercedes too?
No, I'm saying Tony.
Oh, you're saying, I'm sorry, Tony. That's what I meant.
And honestly, I hope this match goes on before the women's Casino Battle Royale. I feel like the winner of that's really going to determine. I could see two possible winners for that, and each winner would mean a different woman comes out of that world title match, the champ. I think your two top contenders are going to be Athena and Chris Statlander. I think Athena and Monet, natural matchup, and I think Statlander and Storm is another one.
And I know Statlander hasn't been wrestling much just because I guess of an injury, but they've been keeping obviously Statlander coming out on TV. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense too, is like, who gets set up as, the rivalry beyond All In, because, the world keeps moving after the pay-per-view ends. So makes a lot of sense,
It is really nice, again, not to always mention the booking perspective, but with these gauntlet matches, only one person has to get pinned. So you can keep a lot of people looking strong. And that would include somebody, in my mind, like a Megan Bayne, who doesn't have to win this match, but also doesn't have to get pinned, which is nice. So I would like to hold out hope that this could be a big moment for Athena. Obviously, I expect her and Thunder Rosa to get into it in the match. Similar to their feud and last night wrestling and everything, but yeah, I think that there are a lot of possibilities there for sure. And I don't know. I mean, honestly, like what we kind of alluded to before we started talking about the card, I think there's a very good chance that Mercedes and Tony opens the pay-per-view, or I could just say maybe even Okada Omega. I mean, imagine starting a pay-per-view with that, but I would start it with one of those, and just have a huge match to start it and space them out and stuff. They very well could start with, another one. Sometimes they haven't done that whole huge opening match like they like to do on TV sometimes. Have like a main event first, but I like the idea of that ordering that Danny mentioned. So
yeah. Okay. So, and yeah, I would certainly buy Megan Vane anything from the Ice Cream Man too. So I don't know if you saw the picture this week, but
I saw the picture this week, and I immediately made the comment to some people that the next time that I call another Megan Bayne match, I would go on a rant against Mr. Softy, because that's the specific truck that she was standing in front of.
Yes.
And as somebody who lived in Philadelphia and had to hear that stupid song from that truck on a multiple times daily basis, I hate you, Mr. Softy. I hate your stupid jingle, and you don't deserve to have Megan Bayne posing in front of it, giving you publicity.
Yeah, that guy.
And now the song's in my head. Great.
Guy from Family Guy, Herbert's driving it. All right.
Yeah.
So, and then, okay, we come to Jon Moxley, Hangman Page in a Texas death match for the AEW World Championship. That is the final match of the night. Of course, folks, if you're not there at Globe Life Field in Texas, in Arlington, Texas tonight, you can watch it. Amazon Prime, I believe you can buy it on Amazon Prime. That's probably how I'm going to do it. There's a bunch of other ways to get it. You can get it.
Yeah, YouTube, PPV.com,
Triller
traditional
TV.
pay-per-view.
Yeah, there's lots of ways. $49.99. There you go. Still pretty inexpensive, even for like 20 years ago pay-per-view prices. It's, maybe a $10 more. So you definitely don't want to miss that. And the cool thing is, and let's talk about that match in a second, but the cool thing is there's wrestling going on. So you might be able to, even when you get done with it, turn on another channel and see some wrestling. So, but we got Moxley, Hangman Page. Like I said earlier on the show, plastic bags came out at the end of the show the other night. And like thinking, that immediately dawned on me, isn't that how Bryan Danielson was taken out? Bryan Danielson is there. There's a lot of people there. We haven't really talked about many super surprises, but there are, people there that may show up, I mean, I don't think Sting's going to do anything, but he's there. By the way, have you seen him with the makeup on, with the old man beard going on? Definitely a different look for Sting. That's for sure. But okay. DC thoughts on Moxley, Hangman Page?
I think this is going to be a good night for Hangman. My only concern is there's going to be so much shenaniganry going on. Like this is going to eclipse Rhodes Reigns, I think, as far as level of outside involvement. And I don't think it needs it. I think just let those guys have their match. But of course, the match type opens itself up to the outside interference. It's just I don't want it to spoil the moment, really.
Me neither.
Does whether it's Bryce or Aubrey or Paul Turner or whoever, are they? Do they have a copy of the key to the briefcase? Because it's going to be opened today. Yeah, I think there's no doubt. This is one of those situations where this finish is predictable. There is no way that AEW could get away with ending their biggest pay-per-view of the year with John Moxley retaining that belt.
Unless it doesn't go on last.
Unless it doesn't go on last, but I still I think it is going on last. I feel like they've hinted at that enough. And there's just, I mean, it would be a riot in Arlington, Texas. You can't Moxley has had that belt since October. I remember when he got it, it was just like, all right, well, this is going to be quick at least. Nope, it hasn't been. But they have made the Death Riders thing much more interesting. It's gotten better over time. And I think that, when you think of the biggest moments in AEW history, Hangman winning the title the first time around in 2021 was a really big deal. This will totally eclipse that. So it is indeed Hangman's day. I'm not crazy about it being another Texas death match, to be honest, but I'm okay with it because, hey, it's in Texas. Let's stop doing Texas death matches outside of Texas.
There you go. I remember when WWE, back when I was a young kid going to the shows, there was always at least one Texas death match on the card in Rochester. So, we used to see, I always thought it didn't mean anything, but, obviously, I mean, besides the rules, that's how ECW was for every match, was a Texas death match. They just didn't ever give it the name, I mean, the fact that you could use weapons and all sorts of different things. But yeah, this is going to be good.
It's tricky though, because like these guys have had a Texas death match before, even though they're trying to hide that a little bit. They're not fully acknowledging it. Just saying like, oh, each of these guys have been in a Texas death match before. Yeah, they had one against each other. We remember.
Yeah.
How do they top that? How crazy is this going to get? Because some of these matches in the past, and you think about like Hangman and Swerve and stuff,
or piercing with a needle in his cheek. Yeah. There's
or the I mean, I don't even think that was a Texas death match, but that spike that Moxley got backdropped on or whatever that was. I mean, there's Are they going to try to top all of that stuff today? I don't know. I can only kind of just imagine like some big bosses from the Texas Rangers just standing there looking like, what the hell is happening at our baseball field? Our precious, like family friendly, like it's going to get crazy.
Where they're painting the ring with blood. It would not surprise me at all.
Home plate will now be red.
There we go.
Yes.
I don't know if it can top the one spot from GCW I saw last night with the eruption of blood off the top of the guy's head.
Oh no.
I have heard that and I have not seen it yet. So I know I'm in store for it. I've heard of it. So I got to catch up on that show.
Very cool. Very cool. So that is our thoughts on.
Was that the Sam Stackhouse fight or KJ Orso match?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did they do?
Knew that one was going to get crazy. So
they do like when Moxley had those like spikes put into the top of his head, or the I don't even know what they were, like skewers.
Yeah. Those Atticus Cogar brings those out quite a bit in GCW. Brought them out at ESW in May as well. So those are always lovely to see.
Nothing like watching someone run around with these things sticking out of their head. So pretty cool. Yeah.
Wrestling.
Yay. So that'll only be at the end. So we'll have a great night before then. So that's our thoughts on All In, folks. We're going to jump into some news and then get out of here because I've got some stuff to do before we get together. So
real quick, that Okada Omega feud, 4 matches in the past. It's hard to believe it's only 4 singles matches in the past.
Yeah.
And those were all 2017 and then one in 2018. So it has legitimately been just over 7 years, like 7 years, 1 month, and 3 days since they had a singles match, that makes me feel old. It's been that long. But Okada won the first 2, Omega won the next 2. So
I saw the last.
I think
one.
it's set up pretty well for an Okada win. But
when they used to do the New Japan following TNA on Access TV, I watched the last one they had together where it was insane. The first 10 minutes was unbelievable. So I'm just not to give anything away, but man,
That most recent one was well, they wrestled at Dominion 2 years in a row, but that was 2 out of 3 falls, which was just, it was over an hour and it was nuts.
yeah. Then the first 10 minutes was just like in and out of the ring, flying, jumping, doing just doing everybody's move on the planet at the time, and it was like, yeah, so that
on Cage Match, the thousands of votes from viewers, and I know a lot of people don't put stock in Cage Match fan ratings or Dave Meltzer's ratings or anything like that, but it's a 9.78 out of 10, which might be number one all time. I mean, if you haven't seen it, it literally was on the Dave Meltzer list, it was 7 stars, and it's supposed to be out of 5. So scope out that match, find that match if you haven't seen it yet. Okada Omega, Dominion from 69 Day in 2018.
Yeah,
June 9th. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, back then in Access TV, they would used to show like all their stuff like a week or two after it happened, and they would cut it into like different hours, and there was some insane stuff. So let me get some news, and then we'll get out of here. This, and of course, obviously, I'll go through the card quickly for tonight's Saturday night main event, which probably won't matter that much. But TNA president Carlos Silva addressed the company's television future recently, and he says that they are officially finding a television home outside of Access TV for TNA. I guess with their deal with WWE is making them look a little bit better, I guess, as a potential TV show. So who knows where they'll show up? Maybe someplace where people can see TNA wrestling, I'm suggesting. So but that came out in the news this past week. WWE broadcast team member Scott Stafford left the company this past week. I didn't even know he was still with the company, but he does like all the voiceovers for a lot of their things. So that's maybe where I recognize his voice. I mean, he used to be like a backstage guy, didn't he? Scott Stafford at one time. I remember he would like host like the main event shows and stuff. He'd be like the in studio host for them, and
the pay-per-view pre-shows when they were kind of a different format from Stamford and stuff.
Yeah. So he officially leaving the company. I'm guessing a lot of times when you leave, you come back. Maybe he's just retiring in general or has something better coming up. But if you watched SmackDown last night, you saw Jelly Roll in the ring performing his song "Liar," which is interesting. Is the band was up on the stage and he was in the ring, which immediately to me meant that, oh, he's going to be in some action. Logan Paul came out, interrupted the middle of the song, and then Randy Orton came out to defend Jelly Roll. Him and Logan Paul started fighting, and Jelly Roll kind of threw down on Logan Paul, grabbed him by his hair, threw him on his back. Nobody had to pick up Jelly Roll this time, because he didn't do a move in which he had fell on the ground. And so now Jelly Roll is going to be in Randy Orton's corner against Logan Paul tonight on Saturday night's main event. Obviously, they're building up a match for Jelly Roll at SummerSlam. I gotta find some way to get people in, main event people interested, or mainstream. I mean, he's a huge musical artist. I'm not a big fan of country music. I mean, but I know who Jelly Roll is, and I know that he's friends with Pat McAfee. He's been on his thing a couple of times, but so I'm
not a fan of filled donuts. I don't know. It's not my thing.
Yeah. So
also powdered donuts. Do you want that powder all over you? Like, no.
If you're wearing a black shirt, it gets everywhere.
You get like a funnel cake at the fair, and then like within a second, it's just white powder all over your shirt.
Yeah,
one little gust of wind. No,
I don't know. I think there's a time and place for a powdered donut, and it's with a cup of apple cider sometime in the middle of October.
There you go. Yeah, jelly gets all over the place too.
No jelly, just a powder ring.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So that's going on tonight. Wyatt Six. Last night, Wyatt Six, team of Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis, defeated the Street Profits for the WWE tag team titles. I really surprised because when the Wyatt Six were coming out, I could hear people in the crowd talking. I mean, that's how quiet it was. You could hear it on TV.
I feel like that's kind of common these days. The difference is like people noticed when some people watched the SmackDown from Saudi like live feed, and then went and watched it on whatever it airs on, USA. and noticed that in those few hours, WWE had made a lot of audio enhancements
Yeah.
where you look at the crowd and you don't see anybody chanting or singing or things, but it just magically appears on TV, the magic of television. So
Sure.
some of that stuff seems pretty fabricated these days, which I really, really don't like.
The thing is why didn't they use it last night then? Because I'm hearing people talking. It's like, it's like what you go back and watch it, folks, if you don't know what I'm talking about. As soon as they announce them, yes, there's an initial pop, but as they're standing there waiting for all their lights and everything to, to come down and everything, it's got quiet. And it's like, and then they end up winning.
Did they get a pop when they won or no?
Yes, yes. They got a
Okay.
pop when they actually announced him in the ring. But it wasn't like like Bray Wyatt used to be. It definitely is not. You do not have that deafening crowd excitement, and it's like that, I mean, maybe it's hard to recapture that, but they gave him the titles last night. So that's why I was really surprised. It's like, and I mean, those guys are good wrestlers. If you watch that match really close last night too, there was a couple, Dexter Lumis messed up at one point. So there was, he was like kind of wandering around in the wrong part of the ring, but nevertheless, they still gave him the title. So that was last night. If you're watching the Saturday night's main event tonight, you're going to get Gunther versus Goldberg. Goldberg's retire match, most likely, unless he wins the world heavyweight title from Gunther. You got Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso for the U.S. Championship. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Drew came out and kind of attacked Randy last night, kind of setting that up. And Seth Rollins and LA Knight. Nick Aldis also mentioned that what do you say? Yeah, the U.S. title was a late add to it, so that was added late to the show. So they got 4 matches, and that might most likely, when we get done with All In, it may be on. So it might be just a switch of the channels. I was watching TNA this past week, and who appeared? Enzo Amore shows up in a promo. They call him Real One. He's like the company's in Fourth Rope. You ever hear of that, Rob?
Yeah, it's a West Side Guns company that they did a show like that same collective in GCW puts on in Vegas. And they've been doing shows. I think they recently did a show in France and stuff. West Side Gun, obviously, he's the rapper from Buffalo who played Garcia out to the ring. He showed up at the last ESW show in the crowd just watching, which is pretty cool. If he wants to shell out some more money for the commentator or graphics guy and buy part of the company or whatever, like I'm not gonna be opposed to that.
Remember, he had 2 rows of people in the comp seats right ringside,
all in those red hoodies.
Yeah. I remember when they kind of marched out, so yeah.
So I know I don't know how much of that is public. Enzo has a big role in that company, we'll say. And so I saw that playing on there, and it's weird, especially because Enzo was doing like his whole
he was doing you can't teach that thing. Yeah, he was doing the whole him and Big Cass thing.
Right. And doing that on TNA, which is basically WWE, not WWE controlled, but very closely associated with WWE. It was just kind of strange. Another one of those things where it's like, okay, well, like Elias doesn't work here anymore, but now you can go see him on TNA and like this and that. Like it was a weird feeling to see Enzo popping up on that. And I don't know where that's going in terms of another partnership or whatever. But
I'm surprised because Enzo was kicked out of a show in WWE. Wasn't he like kicked maybe it was a couple of years ago where the crowd was chanting for him and he was like on the floor seat, like close to the ring, and they ended up kicking him out of the show. And it's like, whatever, I guess, I mean, obviously anything can be forgiven, but they have a relationship with TNA, WWE does, and then Enzo's on there using his lines from WWE.
Saudi can forgive CM Punk supposedly, so yeah.
Or the other way around,
Right. Yeah. Oh boy.
Don't want to go there, huh?
I'm gonna sneak in one more unnecessary mention about Okada Omega just because I'm following up on it. I was still researching
I'm sure you got it, the information in front of your eyes. I got you.
Cage Match has 114,500 matches in the database that have been like ranked and rated and all that stuff. Okada Omega from Wrestle Kingdom 11, I think it was, number 1 all time. But those 4 Okada Omega matches are ranked out of those 115,000 matches, first, 3rd, 10th, and tied for 19th.
Wow.
And that's like by a a 100th of a rating point, that it's at like 19th and not like top 10 or whatever. But that shows you how I, I'm hoping this match. This is weird. Like I'm kind of hyping the match by saying these things, but there's also part of me that's just like, can these guys live up to what they did 7 or 8 years ago? I think it's going to be an incredible match. Will it touch those other ones? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. So, thank you for.
But 3 of the top 10 and 4 of the top 20, that's crazy.
Folks, if you want to get a pay-per-view and get your money's worth in wrestling, this is the one tonight to watch. So let me go on. I was going to mention Big Boom AJ, Big Justice, and the Rizzler, but we already talked about them. They're going to obviously be there tonight. So this is interesting. Evolution 2 is Sunday, and there's been talks of Gail Kim being involved in it. Now, remember, Gail Kim got fired from TNA back in January. Gail Kim was an agent, I believe, and did some other office jobs with TNA. But Gail Kim is also the wrestler who rolled out underneath the ring in a battle royale and eliminated herself, and kind of like caused some hard feelings between WWE and her when the second time she was in WWE, and so there's a good chance she's going to be involved in Evolution 2. So once again, like I said, people can be forgiven for things. I'm a big fan of Gail Kim. Gail Kim was awesome. I talked to Gail Kim the day she got fired from WWE the first time, and I felt terrible about it because she was weepy the whole time. But she did come on the show and talk with us about it. And then of course TNA came around and she like reinvigorated her career. But that's some interesting news alone. We'll see if Gail Kim shows up on the Evolution 2. That will be Sunday on Peacock, by the way. So we're almost getting to the end because I've got a couple lineups here. But if you go see Superman this weekend, apparently Peacemaker makes an appearance in the movie. John Cena's Peacemaker. If you have had any chance to watch that show, it's a solid superhero show, very R-rated, definitely not for kids, especially with the language and some of the topics that they talk about. But he's tight with Gunn, the guy who made the Superman movie, who's reimagining the entire DC universe in movies. And so we'll see. So if you want to see John Cena, you'll see him briefly. If you blink your eye, you might miss him. So kudos to John Cena for showing up in probably the blockbuster of the summer right now that comes out this weekend. If you haven't seen enough thousands of ads, and they even paid TNA to last week to do AEW. They had like the ringside graphic. They had interviews with the people from the movie during the show. Definitely a way to get fans out there to the movie theaters this weekend. So kudos. Women's wrestling star Shayna Baszler got fired from WWE recently, but now she's been rehired as an agent for NXT, and she's come out and admitted it. That I
don't know if that was just a one-time thing or like a trial thing. I don't know if she's actually got a contract for doing that, but it could lead to more stuff.
I think they were trying her out,
Yeah.
and they were happy with it too. So I wouldn't be surprised if they keep using her over and over. So the lineup for this Evolution 2 going on is this weekend, and you've got a lot of premium lineups. You got Io Sky taking on Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship, Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria and Bayley for the Intercontinental title. You've got Jade Cargill versus Naomi for the No Holds Barred. It's a No Hold Barred match. That'll, see if Jade gets better. Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus. I love it. Trish Stratus comes out on her own social media site and said that whatever she did last week was boring, and she watched the show. So she said that segment was a boring segment, so it was very interesting. She's going to be wrestling Tiffany Stratton.
I also liked seeing Charlotte's Players Tribune story where she calls out Tiffany's personal comments in that one promo or whatever. It was nice to see that called out, because some things are crossing a line.
Yeah, well, I mean, remember that Charlotte also said something about Tiffany's boyfriend. I guess maybe not her boyfriend anymore.
Not anymore, apparently.
No, yeah. Maybe that's what ended it, was talking about getting into her DMs, as they say, which, but there's a battle royale for a world championship match at Clash in Paris, which with a ton of people involved, a lot of NXT. I see a few WWE names in there as well, as Zelina Vega, Julia, Candice LeRae, BFAB, Meechin, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Alba. We haven't seen Chelsea Green in a while since she dropped the title. I think she might have broke her nose or something, and I think that it's taken a while to get back from that. We got
when she took that 619 from Selena, busted her face.
Yeah, so she's been out for a bit. We got the Women's Tag Team Championship, the Judgment Day, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus Sol Ruca and Zarya versus the Kabuki Warriors. So it's a 4-way.
Roxanne is in Judgment Day now.
Yeah.
Okay.
She kind of got weeded in with, I don't know if she was ever going to be really permanent, but then Liv got hurt. Excuse me. And then and so Liv got hurt, and so now she's like, well, I guess we need a tag partner, we're gonna, for Raquel Rodriguez. And Raquel Rodriguez is kind of like, kind of not too happy about it, but at least in her facial expressions on TV. But we got NXT Women's Champ JC Jane taking on Jordan Grace in the main event. So that's on Sunday. So you definitely don't want to miss that. That's going to be
unfortunately the Love Island USA 2025 season finale is at the same time, so I will be watching
Love Island. I've been following.
Yeah, that's my newest one. This is a problem that some of these shows just keep popping up, and it's like, fine, I'll try it. Oh my god, I'm hooked, and that's the newest one. So
I think it's funny that I see like this girl quit because she said something racist or something.
It's been I don't know another show where my jaw has dropped as much as season 7 of Love Island USA. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. A lot of similarities to wrestling and some of the swerves and just nonsense. So
yeah. I think that's hilarious. So
yeah.
I believe me, I see all that stuff. It's like, wow, it sounds
it's
like
the newest guilty pleasure on the list for sure.
And no more road rules, huh? You see Theo Vaughn was in town last night, or was it 2 nights ago? He was a road rules guy. Now he's a comedian, and he was at the Carlson comedy at the Carlson. And he talks wrestling all the time, obviously, in his podcast and stuff. But we used to watch that stuff, Real World, Road Rules. I mean, I'd get caught up in those reality shows that MTV would force down our throats after they never tell you that they were giving them free beer the whole time they're in there, and that's why half the time they'd fight and stuff because they were drunk. But I remember the Road Rules was in, Real World was in. Were you in Philly when they were in Philly?
Sure was. That was a big deal there when they were living at that old bank on Arch Street and hopping out at all the bars. And they did a couple appearances like at Temple and stuff. And I think that was the only Real World season I watched in full. But that was fun. At least that seemed a little bit more real than like the other guilty pleasures that were so stupidly fake, like Next and Parental Control. And I don't know who remembers all those shows, but
it's Next, the one where they had like the big mobile home where they would
the
like
bus.
They try to get dates and stuff and hook people up.
They can choose to either take the cash $1 per minute that they were on the date, or take a second date, which never made sense because you should take the money and then they stop filming and be like, hey, I got the money. Let's use this for a second date off camera. That's the only way that should have ever went, but people weren't smart enough.
Whatever happened to blind date show? I used to love that too,
What a world we're in. Yeah.
Okay.
One other thing I want to mention real quick. I mentioned that last night that Takeshita Bandito match, people were saying was match of the year. I have to say that last Saturday in Hartford at GCW, was surprising to me. There's been a couple matches already this year, AEW and stuff that I have really been like, oh my god, this is match of the year. My current match of the year is probably a 6-person tag from that GCW show last Saturday. WWE ID prospect Marcus Mathers, along with the GCW tag champs Jordan Oliver and Alec Price. All of which have a bunch of ESW history too. But those 3 against Miyu Yamashita, Megan Bain, and Billy Starks, 3-on-3, was the most ridiculous, incredible 19 minutes. Like the best way I could sum it up was like, you can't watch a highlight reel of that match. You can't do it because it's literally a highlight every 5 seconds, and any kind of highlight reel would not do justice to it. That match was so good that some of us are talking that literally it might be my favorite indie match ever.
Wow.
So GCW, the top play, Hartford, July 5th. Yeah, that 3-on-3 match. Obviously, four of them in that match are already signed elsewhere. But all 6 of them were incredible in that match. And I can't suggest it enough to people,
Very
especially to like indie wrestlers out there and stuff that want to like get ideas and stuff. It was just, the crowd went absolutely insane. Like it was, I've already seen it twice, and I know I will see it again soon, I'm sure.
Awesome. Is there anything else coming up? ESW is coming up in what, like another
2 weeks from today
Dang.
is Everything to Gain on the covered outdoor rink at Riverworks, including the Everything to Gain Battle Royal is the main event, the second half there. Yeah, that's going to be a really fun show. One of 3 ESW shows left this year. So that'll be a lot of fun. That's Saturday the 26th at 7:00. Rain or shine, obviously, because they got that covering on that rink. But love the outdoor show and that breeze off the river and stuff. So that'll be really fun.
Definitely. So I do want to mention
And
too,
there's a GCW announcement coming soon too.
Oh, good. So if you're a fan of wrestling in Rochester and you don't want to watch any of the things going on today, there's a UPW show at the Marketplace Mall at their UPW training facility. You can check that out.
There are a lot of indie shows today, and I guess credit to all the people who are running today against all of this stuff on TV. I am surprised at how many indie shows there are today with that competition, but support indie wrestling.
Yeah, there's a tag team tournament, in fact, at UPW, the Upstate 8. So if you don't want to if you don't want to catch that, you want to catch that live, catch that tonight. That's going on at UPW, like I said, at Marketplace Mall. We're going to get out of here because we've got to prepare for All In, which is not that far away. I want to thank all you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, DC Danger. We will see you later. I know you're busy right now, but you will be coming out later. I want to thank you guys in the chat room, man. We had some good numbers in there today too. So I appreciate you guys following with us until y'all did run away, because we don't want to hear what we're talking about, but that does happen at times.
There's the first y'all of the day. Happy y'all in, everybody.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.